Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mama Christine's podcast, Living Life Through Experience. And we call it that because that's how we learn, is through our experiences in life that bring us to where we are now. Whether you're 20, 30, 50, 90, it doesn't matter. So tonight we're going to talk about the past. And I kind of let a little hint out yesterday that that's what we were going to talk about. So here we go. We're going to start first, of course, with a card. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to go with the romance deck because it's about love in general. And when we focus on not letting go of our past so we can move forward, it's all about love for ourselves. And if we have love for ourselves, then we have an easier time letting go and detaching from that which we held on to, right? Okay, all shuffled and ready to go. There we go. Trust. And I love that. You know why? Just like it says on the bottom, this situation is calling for you to have faith. Trust the process, okay? Why do we need to trust? Because what happens is we feel if we're letting go of the past, one, we don't know how. Two, if we do, how do I live without knowing to live in that energy and not the new energy? If I let go, where does that leave me? Right? And I know it may sound silly to some, but for others, that's what it feels like. You know, it's sometimes people live in a certain way throughout their lives, whether it's through home, family, relationships, marriages. We stay, no matter how good, how bad, how ugly it can be, because in that moment, that's a big fear, is what happens next? How can I let this go and move forward? A lot of times we feel like there's nothing we can do, or we're just become so used to living in that energy that it's actually hard to think of moving forward. Like, I'm so used to being in such a hurt space, I don't know what it feels like anymore to feel happy or to feel love or to feel exhilarated with life. You know, I mean, we've been in such a rut for such a long time. That's all we know. So how do we let go of that? And then how do we let go of the emotional attachments that come with it? Now, what do I mean by that? Think about it. If you were, say, in a bad home life, okay, as a young person, or even in a bad marriage, and that other person that you lived with had no issue telling you how stupid you were, or how unworthy you were, and how dare you ask for anything. And it's funny because that was my short video this morning for social media, was about being worthy. And a lot of times all it takes is one person to look at you and say something to change that mindset. And again, it goes back to what I talked about on another video I did, is why do we let that one negative comment become our truth instead of all the positive ones that people give us, right? So for example, let's say when you were much younger, so, I wish I had X amount of dollars so I could travel, or I could help a friend out, or I could, go to school, or I could start a business, or whatever, right? Sometimes we just have these funny wishes like, you know what, I just wish I had about $1,000 right now so I could go clothes shopping. Well, sometimes people actually need the clothes. It's not just wanting just to want. But yet we're born and bred to believe that's selfish. Don't do that. Why do you need more clothes? Why can't you just be happy with what you have? So therefore, as we get older, our mindset is in a space of, I really would like things. I'm older now, like myself, my kids are all grown. I want to travel. I want to do different things, experience different things. I don't think this whole world was put here for us to sit in one little square box and not enjoy it. Are there some places you shouldn't go and enjoy it? Yeah, I'm sure there are. But for the most part, there's so much in this world to see, so much to explore and experience. And so why should I sit still in my little box and just think that this is it? So yes, I believe I'm worthy of being able to explore and travel and do things for myself. Yes, did I have a point in my life where I was in my box? Sure, of course. I mean, I was married, I had 3 kids. My kids came first. But now they're adults. I only have me to take care of. So why not do what I want to do? Right? I'm not hurting anybody else by wanting these things. Obviously, there's priorities, and I need to take care of my own things first. But you know what? It doesn't mean I can't go for it, right? Was I told as a child, like, if you want for things all the time, stop being selfish? Yes, I was told that. So yes, did I spend years going, well, I really want this. Well, maybe I shouldn't. Of course I did. But you know what? I worked through it. And now I know the difference between being selfish or just having a dream or a goal or something you would love to acquire, because you would be so grateful to have that. There's a big difference. There's a lot of people out there who just want and want and want just so they can have the most and be in control of whatever, okay? Then you have others who really want and want, but they're grateful if they receive it or go after it and achieve it because it was a dream, it was a goal, and it came from their heart, and they have pure intentions. So there's big differences. So are you worthy? Damn straight you are. What are you holding on to your past? Probably a lot. If I tell people again, how old are you? So how many years have you been on this earth? And how many years have you been putting up with comments from other people? Think about that. I don't care if you're 20, 25, or 95. We've been hearing comments. Now, of course, your parents raise you, your peers and your teachers and religious people and all that help you and when you're growing and learning and whatnot. So it's like you hear so many different stories. But what feels right to you? Truly, what feels right to you? You have to do what's best for yourself. Doesn't matter what mom and dad said, or your teachers, or family members, or friends, or religious people. What feels right to you? I was talking with somebody yesterday, a good friend, young person, and she was telling me how suddenly she just decided to go to church. Like she felt this nudge, like she needed to go to church. Personally, do I like church? No, I do not. And I have my reasons. But for her, it felt like, as she said, not to sound weird, but it felt like a calling. And maybe it was. I definitely feel that every person has a calling to something that connects with them personally, whether it is religious or it's spiritual or it's nothing. I went to a United church. I think it is. Don't quote me on this one. Anyway, my stepdaughter goes there with her family, and it's a church that's open to everybody. And, when I say everybody, I mean everybody. I mean, gay, straight, doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, where you came from, what you believe in. Doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome. It's just a house of positivity. That's what I call it. House of positivity with some sort of a spiritual connection, whatever yours is. Okay? And I went there because my granddaughter was getting her coming of age ceremony. And it's nothing fancy. It's just, reaching a point in your life where you're getting closer to adulthood than you are to childhood. You know what I mean? And it was all about, who are you? And it was so fun to listen to all these kids and how smart they were. Oh my God. It was like, how do I know who I am if I'm only this age? I can only tell you who I am in this moment. I can't tell you who I am unless I've been there, and who I am is going to change multiple times. And that is so true. So damn true. And it was funny because, I was so proud of her. And there was another young boy that came up and he spoke and he came right out with, I'm atheist. And I was like, oh my God. Because again, that old belief of religion still sticks with me every once in a while, and it catches me, and it's like, wow, I'm atheist. I'm like, oh my God, if you had said that in a church, it would have been like, holy cow. And granted, we were in a type of church, So it was like, well, wait a minute, that's right. They accept everybody. It doesn't matter what your belief systems are. And so he bases his life on, scientifically speaking, this is who I am. You know, where am I in life is where I'm going to be at every given moment. And I was like, wow, these kids, and everybody was just like clapping. And I'm like, isn't this what life should really be about? Again, you know, I'm going off kilter here a little bit, but when I look at belief systems, and whether it's emotional beliefs, mental beliefs, religious beliefs, whatever, we're going to change a million times. Think of your life as like a kid who's asked in elementary school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, I want to be a construction worker, right? Because he likes the big trucks, okay? Now you get to middle school. And it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a policeman. I want to be a big, bad person who catches bad guys, right? Now, what changed from elementary school to middle school? Now they go to high school. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? What do you want to go to college for? Oh, I wanted to get into finance. Now, where did that come from? Because life is ever changing. Thought processes change, right? Beliefs change. You know, what your perception of something is in that moment is what it is. But perceptions change as we grow and we live life through experience, right? So therefore, yes, your mind is going to change. Your thought processes are going to change. And again, now back on topic, how do you let go of the old stuff? You have to work at it. You have to remind yourself that this is not my belief system anymore, and I can let it go. If you're like me and you like to write things down, that's me. I'm a very visual person, so I like to see it in front of me. I can write a letter to myself or the universe, however you want to look at it, and say, this was my belief system, but I no longer consciously believe in that. So I want to release and let go of my subconscious thinking of this belief system. I want to believe what I believe now without the attachment of my past. Okay? And then you can take it outside and burn it. Safely, of course, right? But yeah, I mean, we hold on to so much from our past. It's like, again, you know, like talking about like last night's new moon manifesting sound bath. I told everybody, I said, manifesting always starts here. Okay? And what that means is we have to work on what it is we want to manifest for ourself, such as health, happiness, joy, love, compassion, support, right? And anything else you can think of. Then start expanding outwards from yourself. What do you need from your spouse or your significant other? What do you need for your kids? Not for them, but for you, about them. You know, so I'm manifesting that my, husband, wife, significant other, that I have an open and honest relationship with them, a loving relationship, a giving relationship, a balanced relationship. With my kids, it's that we have an open relationship where I can be there for them if they need to talk, okay? Because it's very easy to not be there for people because we get busy with life, right? And we can see that because from whenever you were born till now, things have changed so much and life is so fast that sometimes we forget to be there in the moment and hold space for other people. So same thing, job. If you need a new job, then put it out there, manifesting what you need, and be specific as possible of what it is you want. 40 hours, benefits, close to home, remote, something new, something that fulfills a purpose for me, whatever it may be, and then moving on to, I need a car, I need a new house, I need an apartment, I want to move to a different state, whatever it may be, money, whatever it is. But what happens is we can manifest a list a mile long of things we want. But now what happens? And I told everybody last night, I says, when you're done writing your things out, because we wrote it all down, I says, you're going to fold it and leave it next to you while you meditate. I says, but be mindful of how you fold. And they're all looking at me. I said, because those who fold it so tight are afraid to receive what it is they've written down. People who fold their papers less, it's almost like easy to open, easy to receive, so to say. Everything is intention. And a lot of things that we do is through subconscious ways, okay? For example, just a little off topic, but I catch people, I says, you ever catch yourself just holding your thumb? Just the thumb, not the whole hand, not, just the thumb. And they're like, oh my God, I do that all the time. Your thumb means worry. So when you're worried, your body automatic response is to hold your thumb. Worry, fear, anger, grief, procrastination. So if you catch yourself always doing that, that's why. So your automatic response when you try to manifest things is old cell memories or memories of what you've been told pop up back here. The antenna goes up and goes, isn't that being selfish? You're asking for so much stuff. I've had people say, well, how many things can I put? Because I don't want to be selfish. You put as much as you want. It doesn't mean it's all going to happen at once. But if you want to fill up that paper, go for it, right? Don't worry about it. You will receive what you want because of gratitude. Will it happen all at once? Not really. It'll take time. Some things could take months, maybe even a year or two. You never know. So, but the fact that you put it out there and yes, this is what I want and what it's meant to be, it'll fall into place at the right time. But a lot of us, again, oh my God, I put so much on my paper. That's so selfish of me. No, are you doing it because you truly, out of your heart, want this? Or are you doing it just because you want stuff? Because think about it. People who shopaholics, right? They're not happy in their life. So what they do is they go out and buy and buy and buy more and more and more stuff because for that moment, it gives them that rush and makes them feel like they have something until it wears off and they go shopping again. To me, that's not the way to ask for things. That just shows you need a lot of internal work, okay? So when you're manifesting, and yes, you're asking for things, remember that you are worthy, okay? If you're one of those people that maybe were told that, oh, that's not possible, you can't do that, you're not strong enough for that, that's going to stop you as well. So really sit and meditate with that or think about that. And what stops me from achieving what I truly want in life? Is it me? Is it something somebody said? And granted, parents can say things because in that time, that generational time, that's how you raise your kids, right? Things change, right? Again, now today we don't believe in beating our children, right? We don't believe in berating them with negativity because that's just wrong. It affects them mentally and emotionally. So then you're wondering like, well, I was tough on him. I raised him right or her right or whatever. And it's like, but at the same time, even the quick slip of a tongue, I'm like, oh my God, what are you, stupid? And you realize like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that because you're not stupid. I'm so sorry. And being a good person or a good parent or good whatever, or whoever, stopping yourself immediately and apologizing shows strength. I don't think my parents would have ever apologized for saying something out of turn because they didn't believe it was out of turn. Today we feel differently. I've had discussions with my kids where I've actually come back and I've said, you know what, that was wrong of me. I said that out of turn and I'm sure it hurt you and I apologize. I will work on never saying that again. Because when you're wrong, you're wrong. It doesn't mean because you're the adult that you're right all the time. I think kids are right more than we are because we're older and we have more ego-based things in our heads, right? Old things that have been put in there, programs. Kids are more open, more clear. They're not all messed up with a lot of what we went through, so that's one of the generational things I see. I still see people that say, oh, kids today, they're useless, they're lazy, they're this, they're that. I'm like, yeah, but what are you looking at? You're just looking at one person just maybe sitting there scrolling on their phone. I can tell you some kids today have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. And in order to de-stress, they need to stop, sit back, and just do something that's mind-numbing because it basically helps them to calm down. But people don't see that. They only see what their perception of things are. It does not mean that kid is lazy. It means that kid is trying to de-stress. They've had enough. Where maybe in my day it was like, nope, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm tired. I can't do this anyway. Too bad. We're not going home yet. You got to keep going. Let's go. And it was what they wanted all the time. And I'm not saying give your kids everything, but, think about it. Why does this kid or, this young adult would seem to just sit back and stop? That maybe they need a little downtime, right? As an adult, you're like, oh, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go sit. Okay, that's okay. But when you're a kid, you're not supposed to. So think about the perceptions of life, old thought processes, old ways. Now, a lot of what happens in the past, people bring forward and let what happened then define who they are today. And it's like, no, that's not who you are today. So everybody's perception of you has changed except your own. So if you were told you were unworthy, or you weren't smart enough, or you weren't good enough, or you don't have the power to do whatever it is, that sticks with you and you carry it. So today, even though that's not who you are, you still see yourself that way. So today, you define yourself as a weak person. I don't know, I'm kind of weak. I don't think I can do those things. Why not? What today stops you from doing that? And you'll make somebody stop and think. Maybe you're stopping and thinking at the moment. Oh, wow, I don't know. What could it be? Maybe it's something you were told in the past. Maybe your dad, your mom, a husband, a boyfriend, a friend, a sibling, who knows, maybe a teacher sat there and told you. You'll never amount to anything. All right? And you've never let it go. You've only buried it, like I said, in the dungeon. And now that you're trying to move forward in life, you feel like that's who you are because you're letting someone else's opinion define who you are today. And that's not who you are today. You have grown. This year I'll be celebrating 40 years out of high school, right? Who am I now? I am an adult woman that is independent, strong, good mindset, business owner, healer, podcaster, right? Mother, grandmother. There's a lot of things about me, right? Strong-willed, manifester, go-getter. This is who I am. Now, if you jump back 40 years when I came out of high school, was that me? Oh, heck no. I was very quiet in high school. I always thought I was less than everybody else. Were my parents tough? Kind of strict, but not crazy tough. But I mean, I had my own situations going through growing up at home. I think every kid does to one extent or another. But do I define myself today as that person? No. Because I'm like, you know what? That's not me anymore. It really isn't. And I do listen to the good compliments that come my way. Before my dad died, when we were looking at this building that Sisters is in, I wanted to buy it. I wanted to buy the building, and then I would put the business on the first floor with my sister and then rent out apartments that are upstairs. And I was going to be a landlord, right? And I was very excited, very determined. And I remember my dad came along when we looked at the building, because my ex at the time was like, you should come and see this place too, because I don't know if she's making a good choice or not. My ex had no faith in me. He did not. He always looked at it was his problem and not mine. This was something I had set my heart on. And again, if you're my husband, you should know who I am. Mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it. My father stopped him in his tracks and made him stop talking and says, you know what? He says, I know my daughter, and if she's determined to do something, she is determined and she'll make it happen. You got nothing to worry about. That's who I am. So am I who I was 40 years ago? 40 years ago, you never would have caught me even thinking about starting a business or buying property or doing any of those things. But I have grown as a person, living life through experience, right? I know who I am today, and I am a strong person, and I know you're a strong person, and you're worthy, and you can be determined, and you can be motivated. If you're not, then it's because you're choosing not to. And I know that may seem like, how can she say that? Because it's true. It is absolutely true. The only person that's going to get you out of your own way is you. You want something, you have to go get it. You want to change something, you have to change. Not change it or them, change you. Well, I think I'm fine just the way I am. Then maybe you need to set boundaries and disconnect from those who don't align with your values. Everything we do in life is a choice. Everything. Oh, well, this person did that to me. They may have done something, but it's your choice to react to it or not. Right? I think there's times in life where we do need a reaction, which means it's setting a boundary. Like, okay, enough is enough. I'm putting my foot down and I'm going to do something about this. That's determination, right? That is setting boundaries. Boundaries just don't magically appear. We have to set them. So think about that. Everything we do is a choice. Whether it's a reaction, it's a physical movement, whatever, okay? It's your choice. Do you want to still live in the mindset of, I used to be and that's who I still am? No, stop thinking that way. But again, it's your choice. I can talk to you for hours on this podcast. It's still up to you to make the change. Because the only person that can make the change for yourself is you. So let go of the past. Let go of who you thought you were. Who you were is gone, okay? What I said 27 minutes ago is gone, okay? It's all in the past. Think about that. Who you were is gone. Stop dragging that old person with you. Stop dragging that girl, that boy, that child, that hurt child. Stop dragging it with you. That's not you anymore. Let it go. Let it go and be who you are right here in this moment. And if you still feel in this moment you still have hurt and you still have doubts, good for you. You're a human being. It's going to happen. But that means that you recognize that you need to work on it. You need to let it go. So write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to anybody who spoke ill of you or anybody who made you feel less than. Write a letter to the universe. I don't care how you write this letter. I want you to yell and scream and holler and swear, and penmanship doesn't count, spelling doesn't count. Get all your emotions out onto this paper, and I want you to take that thing out and burn it. We are still in new moon energy, so guess what? Get rid of your old stuff so you can bring in the new stuff. And your new stuff should be starting with you. I am now ready and willing to be happy and healthy and loved and supported, right? To receive kindness, to have better perceptions, to know I'm worthy, to know I'm deserving, to be motivated, to be determined, and just keep going and going and going. When you are where you're supposed to be and you're balanced, everything outside of you will fall into place. When everything around you falls apart, ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? About you, not that stuff, you. Because again, that means you're unbalanced. Why is this happening? What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? What am I not doing? What am I not fixing? What am I not changing? What am I not healing? Who am I not letting go of? Because even being with the wrong people will start affecting you outside of yourself. So think about that. So, really, I have faith in you guys. I really do. I love all of you who watch my videos, the podcasts. Again, gotta let go of that old stuff. That old stuff does not define who you are today. And you know what? Who you are right now is not going to define who you are in the future, because you're going to constantly change. you know, maybe subtle changes. It doesn't, I think as we heal and we learn to let go of a lot of stuff, you do have change and you do become a little different. It's just less, you know. I feel like now, I mean, I don't want to say I've plateaued, but it's like instead of an upward, like I'm healing, it's like, okay, there's a slight bend in the walkway, which shows that yes, there's always room for healing. There's always room for learning. You never stop learning. Therefore, you never stop changing, right? So continue to work, do some journaling, do some meditation. And again, it doesn't have to be fancy. Everybody thinks, oh my God, meditation. I don't want to fall asleep. I don't want this. I don't want that. I can't keep my mind still. Practice. Life is a practice. Again, if a doctor told you that you would die without a certain treatment, you would jump at the chance for that treatment, right? I'm telling you, emotionally and mentally, you need to work on letting go and healing yourself so that you can feel better on all levels. So do it. Journal, meditate, go for a walk, go to the gym. You don't have to do all of these things, but whatever fits your lifestyle, whatever you enjoy, do that. Go to the beach and listen to the ocean. Oh my God, for me personally, that is like, I could just sit there in a chair with my eyes closed and just listen. You'd be surprised at what it can do for you. My favorite things is the journaling and burning the papers and sitting by the beach. That's what I love to do. I also love to draw. I don't draw fancy. I like to do mandalas and, do freestyle flowers and whatnot. But you know what? For me, it's just, sometimes I get into doing a drawing and like an hour and a half goes by and I'm like, wow, geez, where'd the time go? But you know what? I was in a mindful state, because when you focus on what you're doing, you're being mindful. You don't have a mindful, right? So find those things. De-stress. Take care of yourself. Because taking care of you is not just a physical body thing. It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical, and sometimes even spiritual. Again, not religious, but spiritual. Meaning maybe you have clarity now. Maybe you feel like you're receiving more messages, seeing more signs. Maybe you have more connection. Maybe you can sense and feel the angels around you or your loved ones around you. Or like my friend yesterday, I just felt this calling to go back to church, and I did it and I enjoyed it. And if that's what works for you, that's what you do. So let go of who you were and be who you are right now in this moment. Because what happened before this moment doesn't matter. And what's coming up is who knows. But if we all died in 5 minutes from now, does it really matter what happened before or what's coming later? No. Be in the moment. Be in the moment. I always say, live your life as if you were going to die tomorrow. What would you do right now? Right? And I don't mean to sound so, yeah. Nobody wants to die tomorrow. But think about that. If you knew you were going to die tomorrow and you had, say, 24 hours to fulfill whatever it was you wanted to do in your life, what would you do? Do you have a bucket list? Bucket list isn't just for when the doctor says you're going to die in 6 months. No, bucket list is a list of things that you want to achieve before you do die someday. Have you thought about that? Or is the only thing you're thinking about is what's for dinner? God, I got to clean the house again. Oh, got to dump out the trash. I got laundry. I got errands. That's not life. That's just a piece of it. Balance is key. Take care of you and everything else will fall into place. A lot of people say easier said than done, but you know what? When you start practicing that, you'll find that it's going to work for you. It is going to work for you. I know people in the same situation as myself. They might be alone or with a significant other. Kids are grown, and yet they never have time to, oh my God, do anything. Oh, I got to go here and I got to go there and I got to do this and I got to do that. And I know everybody's life is different, but it's like, why don't you have more time to yourself? Right? I mean, think about it. People retire so they don't have to work anymore. Now, mind you, I'll be one of those people. I can't sit. I don't like to sit still. I like to have something to do. But it's like some people retire and they have twice as much work to do as they did when they were working. And it's like, I thought you were retiring. You're right? Doesn't that mean slowing down? Doesn't that mean shifting and focusing on yourself for a change? And it doesn't happen. Why? Why? So lots to think about. But again, think about the things from your past that you have carried over. And if you're not sure what it is, but you know you always feel blocked, or you always feel like you can never get ahead, do some meditation. Do some meditation and see. And I can assure you, you're going to figure it out. All right, so that's it for this evening. Thank you for watching, and I will see all of you next Thursday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.